Okay. People just doing a few things here. All right, I'm going to welcome you back to Character GPS, your guidance system for life, right? You are in the right place. So today we're going to start our third adventure, our third toolkit, right? We're going to help you discover what your natural talents are. Okay, so now reviewing last week, we taught you how your brains learn, all right? So remembering that, it's kind of like the 3 steps is like catching a football, right? So Isaiah, can I get you to help me out just for a minute here? All right, so this kind of makes it memorable. So if you weren't here last week, the 3 steps of learning is like catching a football, all right? The first step is you have to do what? You have to receive it, right? Then you what? Store it, and then you use it. But Isaiah's right, you actually have to prepare before you go to receive it, right? So when I go to throw it at him, notice how he gets his hands ready, he's prepared, right, to be successful. So as a student, you get yourself ready to learn, right? So again, good eye contact, right? You get your body position, pencil in hand. As you know, taking notes will help you to stay focused. So now when I go to throw it at him, he's going to catch it. But if it's out here, right, the defender could knock it out, so he tucks it in, he stores it, and then he can run for the touchdown. Okay, are you ready to win the game, Isaiah? Here it comes. All right, that's all right.
Alright, run.
It's a slick ball. We'll try again. Take 2. That's all right. That's all right.
Bro, shut up.
All right, here we go. Throw it to him.
You can do it.
There we go. Tuck it in. Run for a touchdown.
Run.
All right, there we go. We win the game, right? So once you've seen now the football, right, that helps you to remember, makes it memorable, right? It's not just a concept you heard, you got to actually see it, right? So last time we talked about, remember, if you can see it and hear it, that's like multimedia, that's like 50% you're going to retain. But the best way to learn is to teach it, right? So what we talked about last time, here's the first step. It's coming at you. What's going to keep you from receiving that information? Distractions, right? Not paying attention. And then it's just going to bounce off you like bullets off Superman, right? So that's why at our school here, what could distract you from learning? People, right?
That's the
Students,
biggest one.
they're already distracted, right?
Yep.
Their short-term memory is probably full, so now they're just wandering around, right? They don't know how to free up that short-term memory, right? So they start distracting each other. But you know how to be focused, right? So once you're focused, now you get to transfer from your short-term memory to your long-term memory, so that your short-term memory won't get full like that where you can't concentrate. So there's 2 methods, right? Drill and practice and 3-person teaching. So drill and practice is like your math tables. Melinda, do you remember what 5 times 5 is? 25, right? How'd you know that? Right, you drilled it in, your math tables in elementary school. You might have thought at the time that was kind of a waste, but your teacher knew what she was doing, right? Or he was doing, right? So then you say, what's 25 times 25? You are right. Now, she didn't drill that in, she just remembers from last time, right? All right, let's see what she remembers. What's 1,025 times 1,025? 1,050,625, right? I drilled it in to impress you, right? So if you need to know something, you drill it in, right? So that you've got it at your access whenever you need it. But the other method is to teach it, right? When you teach, you make yourself smarter. But the 3-person teaching method says that you receive it from the source, so me, or like if you're doing an independent unit, right? You're the second person, the student, the learner, right? And then the third is who you teach it to. Now again, if you can't teach it to someone else, you can always take notes. Taking notes, the research shows, will get you a letter grade higher than you would if you didn't take notes, because it helps you to stay focused in the learning process and transfer it to your long-term memory. Does that make sense? So this is the secret to learning it. Most of your peers in your class, they don't know this, right? I learned this in my master's degree program in adult education, so you guys are getting like an advanced degree here, okay? But by knowing this, right, you know the truth will set you free, right? You're free from wondering, why do some people get it and some people don't? Why can't I learn it more? Why can't I stay focused? Now you know how to do it, right? So the last step then is to, once you've got it stored, in your long-term memory, we can reinforce it by teaching. So again, why do I have you taking teaching sheets home? Because it's helping you to finish that processing over your long-term memory. But when do you do your teaching sheets? Next week? Next month? Today, right? Because when you go to sleep at night, your brain actually does a cleanup job to free it up for the next day, right? Otherwise, you start to get headaches every day, right? Just cramming more stuff in that short-term memory. So the key is to teach it today. So how many have a teaching sheet to turn in for CHIPS? Okay. So again, that's about habits, right? So once you get your parents to sign it off, it should go right in your notebook or your bag or whatever, your pocket, whatever you're going that's going to take to school, right? That's what you want to put it in. All right? So again, you can teach your parents, that's a requirement, right? Then if you want to teach additional siblings or friends, you get additional points. If you don't have anyone else, you can even teach the dog, right? It still would work. Now the dog's not going to learn anything, right? But you teaching it, you're still processing the information. And your dog's tail will wag because it likes the attention, right? So it's still a win-win. So when you use your teaching sheets, you're building the habit of getting teaching mode. And every time you teach, you get smarter. You're building new neural connections so that you'll be smarter for the rest of your life, right? So it's a great thing. Then the last step, using it. So again, you can use it when you do role plays in class to practice how I'm going to use the things that I've learned, right? Testing. We test you so that, again, you're demonstrating that I now know this information. I can pull it out anytime from my long-term memory. And then, of course, action plans, right? When you write an action plan, you're planning to change a bad habit to a good habit, right? And then, of course, you're in charge of changing your habits anytime you want to, right? You're in control of your life, right? Because who should be in control of life? You or the bad habit? You. It's your life, right? Don't let bad habits take over. So this is the process to have a wonderful life, to be productive, to be successful, right? So, last time we asked you to apologize to someone for a broken promise because you want to build trust as part of the character building in our program, right? So, Samaya, did you get to apologize for a broken promise? Who did you apologize to? Okay, so when you apologized, did they accept the apology? And then what did you do? You took care of the dog, right? But show them that you're now trustworthy. That is awesome. That's what leaders do. All right, Isaiah, did you get to apologize for a broken promise?
Oh, yeah.
Who was that for?
My dad.
Okay, and what did you say you're going to do?
Apologize because I ate his food.
Okay, right. And you're not supposed to eat his food, right? So did he accept your apology?
Yeah.
And then what did you do to fix the problem?
I made him
There you go. You made him some dinner. All right, great. That's the way you build trust. Xavier, who did you apologize to? Okay, and what did you apologize for?
Not doing my chores on time.
The chores, right? So when you apologize, did they accept that?
Yeah.
But then what did you do?
My chores.
You did trust. Show them that you're trustworthy. Great, right? So you see how that works, guys? So you say you're going to do something and you do it. But if something gets in the way, then you got to let that person know. Because otherwise all they think is you didn't do it, right? I can't trust that person. But you want to be trustworthy, right? So that's our opportunities to build that trust in your life. Okay, good job. So now, we're starting a new adventure, right? So we always come back to this point. Here's today, right? So Evan, can you change your past? What can you change? The future, right? And Melinda, what's the shortest distance from today to your amazing future? If you connect those two dots, it looks like what? A straight line, right? That's what we're trying to do in your life. You're trying to get focused, right? So as much as you can, you try to move towards your future. Don't get distracted, but distractions happen, right? So we're going to help you in this toolkit to learn how to avoid the distraction of not knowing yourself, not knowing your talents. I have students come to me and say, Mr. Kane, I don't have any talents, because they're comparing themselves to someone else, right? But you have your own talents, and we're going to learn that today with your Myers-Briggs profile that you filled out the survey for at the beginning of the semester, all right? So with that in mind, we're going to get you on track to discover more about who you are. So the first thing we're going to use to kind of build our understanding here is in sports, what does TD stand for? Touchdown, right? We all know touchdown. And of course you love to score a touchdown because that gets you the victory, right, in the game. So we use that touchdown, that TD, to remind it that we want to discover our talents. Talents discovered is where you score a victory in your life, when you know what your talents are. You're not wandering, trying to be someone you're not, or thinking that you don't have any talents. We're going to help you discover those and how to then match it up to actually what careers might be a best match to your natural talents. That sound good? All right, so write those in your blanks there, right? On the left side, yeah, there you go. All right, so scoring a touchdown in life is very important. You want to have a victory. All right, so to bring this out, I'm going to tell you a story. There's a hero. His name's Tom Dempsey. He was a football player who kicked the longest field goal in NFL history. In 1970, it held up for almost 40 years. That's pretty amazing, right? So we're going to tell you the background story of Tom Dempsey. Well, Tom Dempsey was born without toes. You say, oh my gosh, Mr. Kane, how did he do this? How did he kick field goals with no toes? Well, as the story goes, his dad played football, his brothers played football, so he went to his high school coach, the football coach, and said, Coach, everyone in my family plays football. I gotta play football. And the coach, of course, was very kind of sensitive to him. Said, well, Tom, that's a nice thing, but you don't have any toes. I mean, to be a quarterback, you gotta fade back on your toes, right? To catch the ball, wide receiver, you gotta jump on your toes. To be a running back, you gotta shift your weight on your toes. Tom, I don't think football is going to be your sport, right? He tried to say it as nice as he could. But Tom wasn't having it. He had a passion. He said, no, Coach, you got to find me. I got to find a position on this team. And he really loved Tom's passion. He said, well, Tom, the only thing we're kind of weak in is the field goal kicker. But I don't see how you're going to do it without any toes. Well, Tom went running home to his dad. And his dad, of course, loved him, right? And so his dad made a special boot with a flat front, where his toes would have been, right? Now, back in those days, they kicked field goals straight on. As opposed to now, they kick soccer style, right? Trying to get a little more momentum going with the foot and the body. So, kicking straight on, if you had a flat front, would that actually be an advantage? So he took his disability and made a talent out of it, right? So with his dad's help. So he went out, practiced and practiced and practiced, kicking field goals. He went to his football coach. Said, Coach, I can be your field goal kicker. And of course, the coach was kind of surprised. He thought he'd kind of taken care of this, right? He said, well, Tom, show me how you do it. They went out, and he kicked field goal after field goal. He said, you're our field goal kicker, right? And he had a great season and great time in his high school. He played so well, he got a scholarship to college, playing college football as, again, field goal kicker. He did so well, he got drafted to the NFL. Pretty good for a kid without toes, right? Well then, unfortunately, in 1970, he was drafted to a new expansion team called the New Orleans Saints. And you might have heard, they're a pretty good team these days, but back then, they were terrible, right? They were brand new first season, they had a bunch of rookies and everything. In fact, they were so bad that people started calling them, instead of the Saints, they called them the Aints, because they ain't got any victories, right? It was pretty bad. In fact, it was so bad that the fans in the stands would wear paper bags over their heads with the eyes cut out because they were embarrassed that these things. All right, so how does that connect to me? Well, I was a Detroit Lions fan. I lived in Michigan around Detroit, right? And Detroit, though, always played on Thanksgiving Day. It was a tradition that went back years ago, right? But unfortunately, they find ways to lose on Thanksgiving Day, so it's kind of a bummer, right? But when we heard that they were going to play the Saints, the Aints, we thought, great, they're finally going to win on Thanksgiving Day, right? So we were all excited, right, with all the food and everything to watch the game. And back in those days, there was no dome stadium, so it was outside. Winter, Detroit could be pretty nasty. It was a low-scoring game. But all the way through, the Lions kept the lead. Well, it came down to the last play of the game. New Orleans had over 60 yards to go. They were down a point, and normally what you do is you'd have the quarterback come in and throw like a Hail Mary pass, right? A Hail Mary meaning a prayer, right? You throw it down, you hope that somehow your guy catches it and falls in the end zone, right? And wins the game. So we're kind of waiting for that to happen, see if the Lions could stop the Hail Mary pass. But instead of the quarterback coming out, who comes out but the field goal kicker? We go, oh my gosh, the Saints, they're so bad, they can't even handle the last play of the game. No one's kicked a 63-yard field goal. We're high-fiving. We got this game won, right? Well, this is what happened. The last play of the game. There's Tom Dempsey, lined up to kick this. Just over the bar. A miracle. Look at it, they're mobbing him. He's a hero, right? The Lions are in white. I can't believe it. They're stunned. So needless to say, our Thanksgiving was a little spoiled by that. But we still ate turkey and it was all good, right? But painful for me to see that every time. But what's the point? Tom developed a talent, right? He worked so hard at it, at the right time, he was ready to win the game. Now, what we couldn't see on TV is the coach was actually going to put the quarterback in to throw the Hail Mary pass, right? But Tom came running up to him and said, Coach, I've kicked 63-yard field goals in practice. I can do this, right? That's why this is always after CD, right? You got to have can do before you get your talents, right? So the coach said, all right, Tom, go win the game for us. And that's what you saw, right? So after the game, you know how the sports commentators always interview the players. So of course they interview Tom. How did you set this record field goal and win the game for your team? And so he kind of reported that it is South, Louisiana kind of style. He said, I was fortunate. My dad had a lot to do with it. I remember one day I was building something and I said, darn it, or words to that effect, right? I can't get this done. And he said, boy, you never say can't. You may have to do something differently, but you what? Can do it, right? So he had the same coaching as we did, right? The can do, right, family? So by having that coaching, he was confident. He believed that if I work hard enough, I can do anything. I can set a record if I have to. But his preparation, meeting the opportunity at the right time, he could win the game. So if you find what your talents are and you work and really develop them at the right time, you'll be ready to win in the game of life, right? To make a difference in this world. But you got to get prepared for it. So that's what we're going to help you do today. That sound good? They're all going to be like Tom Dempsey's here. All right, so we had a pre-test here. So again, we always practice with the test. Remember from our learning, what are you doing? When you read a question, you don't know the answer, your brain automatically creates a storage place for the answer, right? So you're making it easier to learn. But then also you know what's going to be asked so you can prepare and be ready to ace the post-test, okay? So, I'm going to tell you another story about a little girl. Learned how to play the piano at 4 years old in her dad's music shop store in Buffalo, New York. She worked so hard at her talent by the age 13, she was teaching adults how to play the piano, right? So like your age or younger, right? She worked at it, she became a concert pianist, got a master's degree in piano performing arts, and this is how good she is. Now, my fingers don't even move that fast, right? She's playing Chopin. Where's the music? Is she reading the music? No, she's memorizing, right? Drill and practice, right? Practice makes perfect. So she's playing it perfect. She's amazing, right? So who is this amazing pianist? My wife, Miss Debbie, right? This is our piano studio. Students come and learn. Miss Debbie has the passion to share her talent with someone else. So when you develop your talents, you can then teach it to someone else, right? What's that? Yeah. So this is what we're going to help you do, right? Get so good you can be as good as Miss Debbie. So our students would come and learn in the piano studio. All right, so I'm going to do a demonstration for you here to kind of bring home some important parts of the preparation to develop your talents. All right? So I got my wallet. I'm going to pull out of here. What do we have? Well, we got grocery money, $100. Whoa, so you get how important you are?
That's not even worth
You're important, yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to take this $100 bill. Now, this is nice, crisp. Would you agree, Cody? $100 bill, right? Okay, now, don't do this at home. I'm a trained professional. I am going to crumple up this $100 bill. Miss Debbie say, oh my gosh, don't do that. All right, Evan, now that this is crumpled up, what does it look like? It looks like a piece of paper, like a wad of paper you can throw away, right? Now, if you'll turn around just a little bit, Evan, it'll be easier for you to see what I'm doing. If you turn your chair, just try and get a little more in the learning position. All right, so Miss Debbie's gonna be pretty upset if I leave it like this. So I'm gonna see if I can salvage my $100. If I'm very careful, if I don't rip it, can I, here it goes.
Don't lose our money.
Okay, this thing's pretty crumpled up. It's a mess.
Yeah.
Cody, how much is it worth?
Not really anything.
Oh, it's not worth
Is that
anything?
what that is?
They still have value.
Does it-
No, it's not
does it
ripped.
still have value?
I could
Oh,
probably make it $100. I could go to the bank and get a nice crisp new $100 bill, right? Or maybe the lady at the grocery store or whatever, they could, smooth it out enough. Okay, we'll take your $100 bill, right? Of course, they'll always make sure it's not counterfeit, right? All right, now I'm going to do one more thing to it. Don't do this at home. I'm a trained professional, right? I am going to stomp on this, just beat this thing up to a pulp. Oh my gosh. Somebody, it is beaten. It is crumpled. How much is it worth? As long as it's not ripped, I can take it to the bank, right, and replace it with a new $100 bill. So what's my point here? As long as I have it, even if it's beaten up, it is replaceable, right? So write that in your book. It's replaceable, even if it's beaten up. All right, I can get a new $100 bill and we'd be okay. So Miss Debbie doesn't have to worry about grocery money there. Okay. Now, that's the first step. Now I'm going to take you to the next step. Now I know you guys aren't realtors, but if you want to kind of take a guess, how much do you think our moon is worth? How much? That whole big moon?
$1 billion.
$1 billion. Okay, that's a great guess. Anyone think it's more than that or less? What do you think?
13 billion.
13 billion. All right. Now you're more 13 billion, 13 billion, right?
13.
20 billion. All right. Sold.
Look at the auctions.
Well, is it worth 20 billion?
Not priceless.
Well, how many moons do we have?
One.
And if we put like a nuclear bomb and blew it up, could we put it back together?
No.
So it's not replaceable. So by definition, if it's unique and can't be replaced, it is priceless. So write that in. Something that's priceless is so valuable that it can't be replaced. You take care of something like that, right? If it's priceless, you don't want anything to happen to it, right? And of course, our moon, it creates tides, does all sorts of things. The gravitational pull of the moon on it, so it's important. All right, now, take it one step further now. Again, you can take your best guess at this, but how much would you say you're worth? Approximately, what would you guess? Nothing! Oh my gosh!
It's a mile.
Oh, that would be a bargain. That'd be tragic, right? We've had some kids, though, tell us that, right? Why are you worthless?
I'm not saying I'm worthless, it's
Oh.
just you can't put a price on it.
Oh,
it's
okay, but
looking
a
at-
price,
there you
okay? So, now some of the young kids, when they do this program, they go, I'm worth $1,000. They think that's like a lot of money, right? But that would be a bargain, right? Well, Samaya is worth more than that, right? In fact, she has DNA that is different from anyone who's ever lived or will live, right? Your fingerprint is unique. The combination of your talents and experience and abilities are unique. In other words, you are one of a kind, right? When God made you, they broke the mold, so to speak, right? Because you are unique and can't be replaced. So by definition, you are
Check the moon.
the P word. Priceless, right? Something priceless is so valuable, you take care of it. But do you always feel like you're priceless? Maybe you make a mistake, you get a bad test grade, oh man, I'm worthless, I'm no good, right? But don't believe that, right? And so, in fact, when we ask some kids how much are they worth, we've had kids say, I am worthless. I said, why do you say that? Because I've been told so. Sometimes we get a lot of negative message, you're no good, right? You're worthless. I often hear that from the bullies sometimes, right? But it's not the truth. There's nothing that you can do or anyone else to change your value. You were born priceless and you will always be priceless. Does that make sense? Right? So Miss Debbie, I promised when we got married, she'd get a foot rub and a back rub every night. Because she liked that, kind of helped her to relax at night, right? And so even when I'm tired, Does she get a foot rub and a back rub?
Yes.
Because my job as her husband is to make her feel priceless, right? So guys, remember, a happy wife means a happy life, another principle, right? Okay? And ladies, don't let any guy ever treat you like you're not priceless, right? You take care of that, right? Now, my daughter Jenny, when she was growing up, she was a pretty little girl. So the suitors, the boys came around. Well, they had to deal with me, the dad, right? So I would make sure that they understood that my daughter's priceless, right? And so I would have them do some chores with me, or take them on the roof and do roof repair so I could talk to them. I made sure my daughter could see that her dad was making sure that she was going to be treated priceless, right? And I made sure that the guys understood that, right? Because I want to make sure that they got off to a good start. So when you're priceless, right, you act priceless, regardless if you're having a good day or bad day, right? You go easy on yourself, right? Build yourself back up. Hey, okay, I had a bad day, but I'm still priceless, right? Now, do we always, though, show that we're priceless? What do you think? Sometimes we don't, right? Sometimes we don't take care of our bodies. Some people use drugs, right? They're damaging their bodies, right? And I'll tell you that I grew up without any alcohol in our home. My mom's mother was an alcoholic and abusive to my mom. So we didn't have any alcohol in our home. We grew up without it. We could celebrate. We didn't need alcohol, right? My 10th grade chemistry teacher, Mr. Watson, said, you have all the chemicals in your body. You have the highest high or the lowest low. You have to learn how to use it. But some people, they want just a quick fix, right? So they take pills and so on, and it does damage to their body, right? Don't do that. Don't damage your body, right? Take care of your body, right? So if we treat ourselves like we're priceless and we act to others like we're priceless, then we create that kind of healthy relationship. That makes sense? Right? Now, how much is the bully worth? Nothing? Well, the bully is actually priceless. They just don't know it, right? Remember, they have low self-esteem, so they pick on someone else to try to feel better about themselves because they don't believe they're priceless, and then, of course, then they treat other people like they're not priceless, right? So that's why bullying is so wrong. It's a denial of the truth. But when you know the truth will set you free. That's why we don't bully, right? We try to help the bully if we can because they don't have the truth. So with this whole idea, life can beat you down at times. You fall down and have trouble, but you know to do what? You get back up because you're priceless, right?
You can't sit down.
Yeah, I know, it's a little tough there. Right. All right, so you see what I'm talking about? Try to raise it up a little bit here. Stay up.
Values.
There we
Values would be worth.
Okay. All right, thank you, Simon. All right, so now we're going to help you kind of really realize just how special you are. So we've got a little article. Instead, you can pass out a few here. We got 3 paragraphs, so I need 3 volunteers, one to read each of the 3 paragraphs. Okay, so Maya's going to do the first one for us. Who can do the second one?
I'll do the second one.
All right, thank you. And so Melinda's got the second one. I need one more to bring it home at the end. Isaiah. Okay, great. So I want you to read along, listen up, right? Xavier, if you can put those chips down. Yeah. Okay. So listen really carefully. Let this soak in like a good rain like we had on Sunday, right? Okay, so Maya, kick us off. Go ahead and read that nice and loud. We can all hear it.
Okay. You are special in all the world. There is nobody like you. Since the beginning of time, there has never been another person like you. Nobody has your smile. Nobody has your eyes, nose, hair, or your voice. Nobody anywhere has your trend, your taste in food, music, or art. No one sees things just as you do. And all the time, there has been no one laughs or cries just like you. And what makes you laugh or cry will never provoke identical laughter or tears from another. No one reacts to any situation just as you react.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. All right, Melinda, keep us going there. Second paragraph.
You are special, you are the only one in all creation with their sad abilities. Oh, there will always be someone who is better in some of the things you are good at, but no one in the universe can reach the quality of your combination of talent, ideas, abilities, and feelings. Like a room full of musical instruments, some may excel alone, but none can match your symphony.
Mm-hmm.
Sound when all are played together, you are a
Symphony, right?
Symphony.
Beautiful. Right. So Miss Debbie playing, right? Very good. Okay, so Isaiah, bring us home, nice and loud there.
Through all of eternity, no one will ever look, walk, think, feel, or do like you do. You are special, you are rare, and as in all rarity, there is great value. You are special, and God made you for a special purpose. He must have a job for you that no one else can do as well as you. Out of all the billions of applicants, only one is qualified. Only one has the right combination of what it takes. That one is you. Strive to be the best that you can be because you are special.
Beautiful. All right, thank you very much. All right, would you agree? Were all those true statements? Yeah. You are really special. You got to believe it, right? Believe in yourself, right, guys?
These kids hurt each other.
We're being distracted. Okay, so now that we know the truth, right, we're going to let you get a Character GPS wristband, not available in any store, if you can answer correctly the question, how much are you worth? So if you answer with the P word, you get this, and then wear this every Thursday, then you'll get 5 bonus chips, right? It's waterproof, so I've been wearing mine for years. Right? You'll go through the shower, no problems, okay? But if you play with it, you'll probably break it, and then you won't be getting your chips, okay? But it's a visual reminder, right? I'm priceless, right? I'm on the leadership team, okay? So I'm going to start over here with Isaiah. Isaiah, how much are you worth? Priceless. Great. Which color would you like? Take a red. There you go. Okay? Samaya, how much are you worth? Shouldn't have to think about that. What is the P word? Priceless, correct answer. See, she smiles when she says that, right? Cody, how much are you worth?
Priceless.
Yes, you are. Go ahead and take one. There you go. Come over here. Evan, how much are you worth?
Priceless.
You are. Which color would you like? Blue one? There you go. All right, Melinda, how much are you worth?
priceless.
Yes, you are. Take a red one there. And Xavier, how much are you worth?
Priceless.
You are. Miss Debbie, how much are you worth?
I'm priceless.
You're
Mr.
priceless.
Jeff, how much
And
are
I'm
you
priceless,
worth?
right? So now we all know the truth, but we need to act like this, right? It could change your life because now you're going to be confident, right? Don't worry about what other people think. You know the truth, right? You're going to be priceless. So now we can then look at our talents because they help reinforce that we can do things with being priceless. So some of our talents are kind of physical that you can see, right? Like the tip of the iceberg. So for instance, if you're tall, you could be a basketball player, right? What else could you do if you're tall? Raise your hand, what do you think? What can you do if you're tall?
Grab high things.
The top shelf guy, all right, very good, right? The supermarket, right? You're a stock clerk or something, right? What else could you do if you're tall? Any other sports? What other sports can you do if you're tall? Football, right, there you go.
Track.
Lacrosse, sure. Especially if you're blocking the net, right, you can reach out. Track, how about volleyball, right? Smash it over the net,
How
right?
about basketball?
Okay.
Basketball.
Yeah, basketball's up there, right? How about being thin? You could be one of those long distance Olympic runners, right? You're nice and thin, you can cover the mile. What else could you do if you're thin? What's that? Okay, right? How about a swimmer, right? Cutting through the water if you're thin, right? How about if you are big? You could be a football player, right? Boxing, right? What else can you do if you're big? Sumo wrestler, right? Those are the biggest wrestlers, right? So those are obvious, you can see those talents. But we have other talents that are on the inside, right? Our personality. So you took that Myers-Briggs survey, and so if you're smart, you could be a teacher, right? If you're curious, you could be a scientist. What else could you do if you're curious? Would be another career other than being a scientist. How about those TV shows? CSI, crime scene investigator, right? Right? Right, solving crimes or mysteries. Detective, right? Very good. And how about if you like people? You could be a nurse. What else could you do to help people?
A counselor.
A counselor, right? What were you saying?
Therapist.
Therapist, right? Right, so whatever you have, you can match it up to some things that would be a good fit. So we're going to now take this idea of our talents, put it on our GPS binoculars to look into your future, right? And see, how do I now apply my thinking? Because being different is a good thing. We don't all want to be identical, right? Cookie cutter, right? That wouldn't be good. It makes good for cookies, but not for life, right? Because if we have different talents, we can combine those talents together. So I'm going to give you pictures to look at, and you're going to tell me who you see in the picture. So raise your hand. Who do you see in this picture when you look at it? You see an old lady, right? So here's her 2 eyes, big nose, her mouth, her chin's kind of in her coat, right?
Wait, that's
That's
a
a
lady.
old guy.
That's an old lady,
I
right?
thought it was a young lady.
Oh, there's a young lady, okay? So here's a young
There's
lady,
both.
her eyelash, her nose, there's her jaw, her ear, a choker on her neck, she's looking this way.
You wanna see that?
So do you see, there's an old lady looking down, and there's a young lady looking kind of profile across.
I don't see an old lady. I just see the.
Okay, here's the old lady again.
Wait.
She has 2 eyes, big nose, right? Her mouth,
Mouth.
kind of kind of, you know, like,
I see it
right? And then her
Actually,
chin
I
is
don't
in the
now.
jacket.
You can't-
I don't
Still
see
don't?
I see it now, but I
Oh,
can't
okay.
now see it now.
That's all
I
right.
see the young lady.
Usually you see one or the other first, and then it's hard sometimes to see the other because your eyes kind of, your brain gets locked into that, right? But if you see a young lady and you see an old lady, right? So let's say somebody sees a young lady, right? Who saw the old lady? Okay, Isaiah? So young lady, old lady, who's right?
Both.
You both are, right? From your different perspectives, your different personalities might see things differently. So we don't argue, we try to understand, right? So like, help me see the old lady, right? Instead of arguing about it, right? All right, very good. Let's try another one. See, who do you see in this picture first?
A chief.
Chief, an Indian, right? I'm part Cherokee Indian, right?
I see like the big coat.
Okay, so just first look at the Indian real quick. Hang on to that. Chiseled chin, nose, the headdress going back, right?
Look into the-
But you said you see what?
A big coat.
All right, an Eskimo. He's got his back to us, right? Here's the fur on his hood, and then he's holding spears, and he's got his boots. So this is his back of his coat. Here's his left elbow, and his other arm. He's like looking into a cave. It's kind of like a shadow. How many see the Eskimo? All right. How many see the Indian? How many see both? Kind of. All right, but again, if you said that's an Indian, that's an Eskimo, Indian, Eskimo, who's right? You both are. When we combine our perspectives, we see the whole picture. See how being different is a good thing, right? It helps us to get at the whole picture, the whole truth. Let me give you one more. Tell me who you see in this one.
Old man.
Okay, so we see an old lady again. So here's her 2 eyes, her big nose,
Very
her
big.
mouth. Someone said you see a man,
Yeah.
big nose, right? His mustache, he's got a beret, maybe Scottish or something, right?
I just seen the big one, let me see the mustache.
All right, so we see 2 people. Is there anyone else in the picture? Guess what? The young lady is here as well. There's her eyelash, her ear, her nose, her jaw.
Yeah, that's not
There's
fair.
her choker.
I thought someone said that.
So there's
Yeah.
3 people in the picture. Old lady, young lady, and the old man.
Which is an old lady?
There's an old lady, yeah. Old lady, 2 eyes, big nose, right?
Why do I
She's
never
looking kind of down. And there's her mouth, again, her chin is kind of in her jacket.
Why do I never see the old lady?
Well, again, you have to train your brain to start to be flexible,
I see
right?
now.
See it differently, right? All right, so we can have fun with this, but you get the idea, right?
Yeah.
Being different is good because all our different perspectives help us see the whole picture. So now we're going to come then to our Myers-Briggs. So there's 4 dimensions, 4 characteristics in your profile. There's 2 possibilities for each one. So 4 squared, that's why there's 16 squares, okay? So pull out your profile from the front of your book. It's in the front pocket of your book here. You were just looking at it, right? There it is, right? Cody's got his, all right? There you go, Evan, right?
I'll give you.
You got yours?
Oh, there's.
There, yep, that's it. Okay, so look at those 4 letters, okay? So those 4 letters make up one of these 16 profiles. Okay, we're going to learn more about your profile. Okay, who you are. This is again when you're tired, low energy. It's called your automatic pilot mode, your comfort zone, right? So you can operate here using the least amount of energy. But you can learn to work outside your comfort zone, but you expend energy to do that. Okay. So again, we're going to be proud of the natural roles that you play. So you think in a large population, 16, that they'd all be about equal, right? Divide that up from 100, but it's not true. There's some types that are very rare. The INFJ, INFP, there's only 1% in the population, while the ESFJ, that's the supporter provider, or the ESTP, or look at that, ESFP, 15%. So it's kind of interesting, right? It's not all just cookie cutter, right? Everyone's kind of different, and some personalities are a little more rare and others more common, right? So we're going to learn about this here. So let's take a look at when you learn your personality, you celebrate, like a touchdown. So these are our past students. When they celebrated, they found out their talents, they were excited about it. Here's our students from Seminole Heights this last year, and then from West University. You might recognize someone. And there's the piano player there, right there. Yeah. Okay, so we get excited when you learn that you have talents, right? Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead. Now, in your books, I'm going to explain about these 4 different characteristics, okay? The first letter in your 4-letter profile is your source of energy. Write that in.
Write that in.
Energy. So the 2 possibilities are you're either an extrovert, energized by positive social interaction with other people, like athletes love to have the crowd cheering for them. Right? So there's Tim Tebow for the game. He's ready to do his best because he's got people cheering for him. Then we have an introvert. Introverts are energized by quiet personal time. So who is this famous introvert here?
Albert Einstein.
Albert Einstein, right? So he couldn't think in a crowd about the theory of relativity. He needs some quiet time to do that, right? But you probably know the formula. E equals mc squared, right? That's energy, right? That's the theory of relativity. So he had to have some quiet time to think that through. But he's a smart guy. But you know in school, he had a teacher told him that he would amount to nothing. That's really sad. So he took that as a challenge. Yeah. He took it as a challenge, right? And of course he was amazing, right? All right, so that's the first letter. Now, sometimes though, extroverts have more energy, right, than an introvert. They can extrovert themselves. Sometimes if an extrovert's insecure, like a bully, they'll use that energy against someone who they perceive as weaker, like an introvert, right? But we know that that's not the right thing to do, right? But it sometimes happens. So how do you handle someone who thinks they have more power? So we're going to do a little role play here. So I need 2 volunteers. Okay, I see Samaya. I can always count on Samaya, all right? And Melinda, all right. All right, step up here, our actresses. Okay, so this is just acting, but I'm going to let Samaya be the bully. Okay, she's the extrovert. Okay, you're going to have to act that way. And then you're going to be the introvert. So you're going to start off first, read what's in red, and then Melinda, you're going to read everything in blue to the end here, okay? And then you're going to respond with this in red, okay? Now the rest of you, remember, you are the directors, so you got to put down your donuts, Evan, right? And put your hands together. We're going to do ready and action as soon as they say they're ready. Okay, you looked over your part?
Yeah.
Okay, guys, hands together. Ready and action!
You like to play chess, that's what's for lips. I have worked hard at learning to play chess and now have learned a national ranking. Just because you don't play, you shouldn't criticize me. Chess really makes you think. I would be glad to teach you if you would like to learn.
I wouldn't be caught dead playing that with the game.
Oh, all right.
Good
So,
job.
but did Melinda, was she proactive? Did she stand up for herself? She didn't let the bully put her down, right? She knows she's priceless. But what did she do for the bully? She said, I'd be glad to show you. Because often bullies are insecure. Really, bully probably doesn't know how to play chess. So they all say it's so stupid, right? They just do that to cover their low self-esteem, right? But she asked, would you like me to show you? So that gave the bully a chance. Now, in this case, Samaya's character said no, right? Missed opportunity. But could we do better?
Yeah.
All right, sometimes we gotta give the bully a chance. All right, I need 2 more volunteers. Very good, ladies. All right, 2 more. Who can help us out here? Xavier, wanna give a shot? How about you and Isaiah? Can I get the 2 of you to do it? All right, come on down. All right. Xavier's all right with Isaiah has to do it too. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna let you be the chess player. You're gonna be a bully. It's a stretch, right? Okay. So you're gonna start off with this first. You're gonna then read everything in blue all the way to the end, right? And then you're gonna say that. Okay? All right, directors, hands together. Everyone ready? Ready and action!
You like to play chess, that's what you miss.
I've worked really hard at learning to play chess, and now I have earned a national ranking. Just because you don't play, you shouldn't criticize me. Chess really makes you think. I would be glad to teach you if you want, if you'd like to.
Hack nerd Dante. Really, you do that for me? It does look interesting.
There you go. See? So when he heard Xavier defend himself, right? He believed in himself. He kind of felt, okay, maybe he isn't so stupid after all, right? And he was willing then to be taught chess, right? You can help the bully overcome their insecurities sometime, right? Because they're priceless too, so we gotta help them if we can. But we don't have to be a target to their bully, right? Okay, very good. So how do you again tell if you were in a party like we're having our graduation at the end of the semester, right? If you were looking around the room, how would you tell who's an introvert and who's an extrovert? What would you observe?
Who's trying to stay in the corners, who's really tired half the time.
Okay, so the
Not
introverts
talking.
might be a little quieter and the extroverts are more excited about graduation or something, right?
More.
Now that might be true if they're strangers, right? So like if I'm at the grocery store and there's a long line, I'm really bored, I'll like start talking to other people, right? I'm an extrovert, right? Kind of make them comfortable and pass the time, right? But if you know everyone, everyone's gonna be excited about graduation, right? Introverts or extroverts. So the real test is who leaves the party first, the extrovert or the introvert? What do you think? Introvert? Evan, would you agree? The introvert? Right, because they spend energy extroverting themselves. They need to go home and have quiet time. So like, hey, Mr. Kane, great graduation, right? But as we're eating cake, they probably kind of quickly say goodbye, take their prizes, right, and leave, right? They need to recharge the battery. So again, look at yourself. Did you get an I or an E? Even though you have extrovert skills, do you need that quiet time to recharge your battery? So that's the real test for you there, okay? All right, let's go on now to the second letter. I should have played our NGM music. All right, so the second one is our source of information. Write that in your book. The second letter is information. We gather it in 2 ways. Our senses, sight, taste, smell, right? And our intuition. Kind of like a hunch. So who is this famous sensing painter there? Vincent van Gogh, Evan, absolutely correct, right? Remember he's the crazy guy that cut off his earlobe for some lady? We won't get into that, right? Alright, but anyways, sensing artists tend to be very sensing, using their hands, creating something that they see around them, right? So who is now this famous intuitive person? The sleuth, who is that?
Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes, man, Evan, alright, give him another one, right? So now we use the I for introverts, so we use the second letter, so we use an N for the intuitive, right? So now that we understand there's 2 modes, there you go, Evan, is one better than the other? Is it better to be sensing or intuitive? What do you think? They're both good, right? So like in problem solving at Raymond James, I would get teams together. The sensing people help us kind of gather the facts about what's going on. The intuitive people help us start thinking creative ways, possibilities that we could solve it, right? So if they know their role, they respect each other, we work well together. Make sense? All right, now your third letter, so flip over the page. What is right? Some people use a thinking approach. They think analytically, what is the right thing by deducing it through some kind of an analytical process, right? Some people take a feeling approach. Does it feel right? So you can think it's right or feel it's right. Now who is this thinking person here? Anyone know? For the Big Bang Theory, that's Sheldon.
Yeah.
He's a scientist, right? He thinks he's always right. Is he always right?
No.
No, of course not, right? So Penny, she's a feeler though. She feels if something feels right. So she's often, many times, more right than Sheldon is, right? But thinking and feeling can work together, right? So for instance, in that problem solving, when we get some possibilities, we hand it over to the thinkers to think through the process, and then the feelers, how does it feel to do the change, get people to buy in, right? Till it feels comfortable. So again, both sides help us to see the whole picture. With me on that? So again, the opposites play a crucial role in helping. The fourth letter is your approach to life. J, judging, or P, perceiving. So who's the famous judge? That's Judge Judy. Cody's right on her, right? And she makes quick decisions. She isn't, shy at all. She gets right to the point, plan A, plan B, right? Because she only has 30 minutes to get her program done. Who is this perceiving person here? Adam said he often plays like a kid, right? Kind of laid back and kind of goofy, right? But a perceiving person just isn't quick to make decisions. They kind of want to study it more, think it through, is this feel right? Do I think it's right? So they kind of slow the process down. So we use this in our problem solving teams because we come up, some people judging, hey, I think this is going to work, here's the numbers, right? And then we have perceiving people who say, well, wait a second, don't jump to a conclusion, right? We got to check it all out, make sure it works, right? So thinking and feeling can balance. Think about if you're planning a vacation. One person in the family is a thinker, right? So they're judging, right? So they're going to say, okay, I need to have money, I got to have reservations for the, right? They have it all planned out. And then the perceiver, whoa, I don't want to plan out my vacation. This is supposed to be relaxing. Why don't we just drive down the road and stop when we want to and then have fun? And of course, the judging person goes crazy on that, right? Are you kidding? We're not just going to go driving down the road. So compromise, find something in the middle. Hey, it doesn't mean to be too structured, but you want to have a reservation. You want to have some money, right? So again, the balance is what really works. Make sense? So again, if you were a judging or perceiving person, right, it's sometimes very obvious. Example, my brother Tom, my older brother Tom, is very perceiving. Now he's a smart guy. He's an electrical engineer, works for Tennessee Valley Authority, right? Long distance transmission of electricity. But when it comes to making decisions, I learned to not go to a new restaurant where like the menu's really big, because I can pick out from that menu real quick what I want. I'm a J, right? But poor Tom, it's a new place and this menu got pages. And I say, well, Tom, what do you want? I said, I don't know, there's so many choices to make, right? And so finally he called like, Jeff, what do you think would be good? So I kind of help him out, right? But that's kind of what a perceiving person, it's hard for them to, with lots of choices, to necessarily nail down. And even they might make a decision and then they want to rethink it again, right? So again, strength and weaknesses, we balance each other out. Make sense? All right, so looking at your 4 letters, you think we got you pretty well set? You feel comfortable? Extrovert versus introvert. Again, you can have extrovert skills, but if you need that quiet time to recharge the battery, you're probably an introvert. What do you think? Okay, so you might be ambidextrous, okay? We don't call it schizophrenic. We say you might be able to work in either mode as your comfort zone, right? So we can look back at your survey. You might have been 5 and 5, but when we have a tie, we have a tiebreaker. And since our culture emphasizes extroversion, because you have to interact with people, introverts often get kind of lost in the shuffle. So if it's a tie, we say, well, you're probably a natural introvert. So we'll take a look though at yours, okay? Because we do have a lot of introverts here. Of course, this is an independent study school, so that kind of makes a little bit of sense, right?
Yeah.
All right, and then think of S versus N, sensing, gathering information about your environment. So for instance, if you like to have things very orderly, like your bedrooms are always really clean or stuff, you might be a sensing person, right? But if you're intuitive, you're always thinking of the possibilities. Maybe having everything clean, organized is not the most important thing to you, right? You're thinking of the next step. And then thinking versus feeling, right? Are you thinking what's the right thing to do, or are you thinking about what feels right? So are you tuned into people, right? Or not? And then the judging versus perceiving. Okay, so how are we doing it? I saw a lot of people checking off, but a lot of checks on your profile, so we're probably pretty close. So we're now going to be able to pull from your profile and help you learn more about yourself, what your talents are, and what careers could be a good match. So first we got to come back now to the grid. So with your 4 letters, go ahead in your book, circle which is your comfort zone. So find your 4 letters. So you're ISFP. So you're right there. You're the
Composer, author.
composer, author. So circle that one box. Yeah. Okay. And you've got yours, Samaya, the mastermind, right? Okay. So circle where you are on the grid.
You're huge.
Okay, Xavier, you got it?
You're huge.
Okay, looking at your 4 letters.
I ain't even doing my big yet.
It's okay. Your profile over here. INTJ, right? So you are a mastermind. So circle this box right there. Okay, and write that in. You're going to stand proud, right? Because how much you worth? Priceless, right? So put the word, you stand proud, right, for your comfort zone, and you're going to learn what your natural roles are. So write those in on the page there. Okay, so what we're going to have you do then is we're going to have you come stand proud in our grid here so we can kind of feel our diversity in the class here, right? So come stand out in your 4 letters, push your chairs in so we have a little more room.
I already got it.
Okay. All right, so find out where you are. There's Cody, composer, author. We have 2 masterminds. Where is Isaiah?
He's a huge.
Okay, healer, great, all right. And Edmund is too, right? So kind of interesting, we have some duplicates in here, right? So what's interesting is in our group we have no guardians, okay? Now, in ancient Greece, they could see that people had different personalities, but they only had 4 categories. So Myers-Briggs kind of breaks into more detail, 16. So therefore, we're guardians. So see the blue squares, 2 up above, 2 below? Those are guardians, people that like to do the same thing over and over, and you ask them to change, they go, do I have to? Because they're so comfortable doing what they're doing, right? Then you have artisans, like Cody, who are creative. They're hands-on, creative people, right? They like to create things. So the challenge for them, though, is they create something that's kind of like my baby, like you want to share it, right? And then you have the row of green. Those are our idealists. We have a lot of idealists here. They're good at change agents. They like to try new things, help people do better, right? The downside for an idealist, the way you punish an idealist, make them suffer the same problem over and over again. They go, come on, can't we do better than that, right? And then the last row is our rationalists. So we have our masterminds over in the corner there, right? They're thinking big picture, how it all should be. Their natural strength is to be practical, to be pragmatic, see the world the way it is, right? They often wonder why other people don't see it that way, right? But if they see something they don't like, they might be a little bit critical, a little bit skeptical, right? Hey, if we have to change, we got all these guardians, that's not happening, right? So they have to kind of bite their tongue a little bit because we know everyone is not perfect, right? You can find a fault in everyone. So our rationalists, they just have to kind of bite their tongue and don't always say what comes to your mind, right? Until they're ready to hear that. All right? So we've got a good group of people here in our afternoon profile, our team here. So I'm going to take a picture. So if you would look at me, so make sure you're not hiding behind someone. So I've got to look at Xavier. Can you go one way or the other? Around Isaiah. There you go. Okay. All right. So I need everyone to smile. Say GPS. Okay?
Can you see
Go.
Melinda?
Huh?
Can you see Melinda?
I can see Melinda. Great. She's doing great. All right. 1, 2, 3. GPS. All right. Nice smile. All right. Now, the realization, aren't you thrilled that you now know you have talents and they're different from other people? So when I go 1, 2, 3, I want you to go touchdown, right? Because you score a touchdown when you know your talents, all right? So again, got to make sure Xavier's not hiding behind Isaiah. There you go. Okay. All right. So now when I go 1, 2, 3, throw your hands up, go touchdown, all right? Nice big smiles. Isaiah's ready to get into this. I can see that. All right. 1, 2, 3, touchdown. Hey, all right. Great. Okay, thank you. All right. We're off to a good start here. So now we're realizing being different is actually a good thing. See, we've been telling you about leaders. Leaders aren't afraid to be different. See, most teenagers, what do they want to be? They want to fit in, right? You want to be liked by everyone, right? But actually, leaders stand out, right? Tom Dempsey's stand out, right? Miss Debbie, pianist, stands out. When you're good at something, you stand out, right? That's a good thing. So we want to help you develop your talents and be proud of the leader you're becoming. So this is what I mentioned. In ancient Greece, Socrates, Plato, right, they identified these 4 categories: guardians, artisans, idealists, and rationalists. Boy, it's cutting off again there.
Yeah.
I thought I got that up a little higher. All right, so again, the strength and weakness, this isn't in your book. I'm just kind of sharing it with you, a little more information. There we go, rationalists, okay? So again, guardians, they're good at maintaining the current way of doing things. They have a hard time with change. So in business, like for instance at Raymond James, if we had to make some changes, we just didn't put up like a loudspeaker, all right, everyone, we're changing, because the guardians would flip out, right? We would tell them like a month in advance, okay, we're going to start changing some systems, get them ready for it, right? So they're not going to be in a panic mode. Artisans, hands-on problem solvers, we get Cody's, right? To build something, do something like that. They love doing it and just have to remind them, hey, when you get done, Cody, we're going to share this thing, right? And then we get to our idealists, the change agents. We usually have them try something new first. They're the pioneers because they like to experiment and try things, right? And then we just help them, hey, we're not going to suffer the same problem. Let's get this fixed and get it working. And then we get our rationalists in, be practical, right? So that what we do is going to help us solve that problem. So everyone's eyes on it from a different perspective lets us see the whole thing. Make sense? Right? Okay, so here we are again. We're excited about our talents. So next time, next class, do not miss next Thursday, right? Of course, you signed a contract with me, right? You gotta be here every Thursday, right? Remind your friends, because we're gonna now take what you've learned and help you find the careers that will match well. You're gonna learn more about yourself and what your future might look like. That sound pretty good? Okay, so what we're going to do then is we're going to get our teaching sheets. Get our teaching sheets out here. If Debbie can help me here. Okay. So again, if you put your name at the top here, Cody. There you go. That's right. You're welcome. Isaiah. All right. So put your name at the top. Let's quickly review. Okay. So TD in our program stands for Talents discovered, right? You score a touchdown when you discover your talents. Priceless, by definition, U stands for unique and can't be replaced. Very good, right? And then U, yeah, your V, value, right? Very good. Is not changed by what you or others do. You were born priceless, you will always be priceless. And then remember, you're going to explain each side. You don't want to be worthless. No, everyone's priceless. I'm not going to be a weather vane. I'm going to be a compass. So I explain all the opposites of those two sides so that your parents will be excited about what you're learning, right? And then you get them to sign. And then, Samaya, what are you going to do with your teaching sheet?
Oh, either put it somewhere where I could get it and
Right. Put it in your purse. Put it in a backpack. Whatever you're taking to school with you, right? So you won't forget to bring it back here and you get all the tips for it. So I'll still honor the teaching sheets from last Adventure 2, right? If you bring them next week, okay? We'll still count those, right? You got to bring those in. All right, so you're going to be teaching. You've got now your wristbands, right? So you're now wearing the wristband. You can wear it in the shower, no problem. You bring it back next week. You get 5 chips every class all the way to graduation. Pretty neat, right? And then if you, Miss Debbie bought for Valentine's Day. Got some Twizzlers for a little break, a little change. There they are. All right, so she's going to crown. You guys are really awesome. You guys are really good. So we got Twizzlers for you. And then on your way out, you're going to tell me one thing you learned. So make sure your chips are underneath your name tag. What's that? Sure. Okay, yeah, I'll give you 2. Okay. Yes. So put your chips underneath your name tag. Leave your books here. Leave your profile here. Take your teaching sheet. That's the one.